2021 is coming to a close, and I felt prompted to make a video um, about 2021 and kind of a reflection on 2021. Um, this has been a crazy year for me. It's been full of a lot of new experiences, new moments, new friends, new connections, just a lot of new, so much new in this year, and a lot of also moments of feeling lost and feeling like I've lost myself, and feeling very like, what's my future gonna look like, and all of those things that go through your head, especially as somebody that's going into their senior year and is in their senior year and is halfway through their senior year, and there's just another half of the year left, and then boom, I'm off to college and I'm at a whole nother chapter of my life. So there's a lot of things that go through your head in these moments, and I'm just gonna kind of start off kind of go through what I did and what happened through this last year. Starting off with 2021, on 2020 New Year's Eve, going into 2021, my grandfather died, and I made a video about it titled 2021 is my year, as sort of a remembrance to my grandfather who passed, and as I'm going to dedicate this year to you kind of thing. And I really feel like that with everything I was able to accomplish this year, my grandfather would be proud. And tomorrow on New Year's Eve, when this is being recorded, so the 30th, and tomorrow on New Year's Eve, we will be remembering my grandfather, Earl, for, all the things he did for me and all of the motivation he gave me, and him being with me after he passed. I really do feel like that I have been guided in a certain kind of way by him throughout this year, and that's all I have to say about that. So, starting off with, after my grandfather passed in New Year's Eve of 2020, going into 2021, I had kind of a spiral of emotions that happened. I kind of got this I'm trying to distract myself from reality kind of moment, where I actually, in February of that year, ran a half marathon, which was actually really cool. Actually over a half marathon, 14 miles. Never been able to do anything like that before in my life, but I do feel like that the pass of my grandfather really did motivate me to do that. And I did that in 2 hours and 16 minutes. And then after that, I kind of started to get very resentful of my situation and where I live and the cards I was dealt it's cards I was dealt in my life, such as my mother being in prison, my dad passing away before I was born, me living with my grandmother and my grandfather, but at this point in my life, and still to this day, only my grandmother. So it's about to be a full year of just me and my grandmother, which is, I don't think either of us realized how much of an impact having my grandfather gone would have on our lives, because he's always been a very low-key, not super outgoing person. But what we've came to realize is that he did more than we ever, I think, even gave him credit for, and we should have vocalized that more. So going into this next year, vocalize your appreciation for people more. Either it's sending them a text on Christmas, Merry Christmas, whoever, right? I sent a text to my coach on Christmas. I said, "Merry Christmas, Coach Robert." And, he didn't respond for like a day, but it's not about the response. It's like when you give a gift to somebody, you don't expect anything back. You just give without wanting to receive. So I think that's a good model for going into 2021. So anyway, back to, or 2022, Jesus Christ. Going into 2022. Fuck, I can't believe it's 2022. It's almost 2020. So back to 2021, my year. That little spiral of me hating life led me to really just become overburdened or overburdening myself with wanting money. And I still want money, and I still want to be financially successful, and I still want to be a millionaire by 25. But it can kind of consumed my perspective on how to get money, what's the right way to get money, etc., etc. So I worked at Pilot. I think I've talked about this before. Gas station place, shitty job. Worked there for 2 months. Fucking sucked. Never again. And it gave me a lot of perspective because it was taking away. It was when we were still shut down for school. It was really just taking away my appreciation for the moments in my life. So I quit my job at Pilot, and we went to, and our school district decided to have us go back to school on campus. And I'd gotten my license in February, right after I ran that half marathon. And, it was really cool to go back to school, drive to school, give people rides to Starbucks and shit. It was like, I was like, okay, Pilot made me really feel like a part of a world that I never want to be a part of. And that's I'm stuck in a 9-to-5 job and I never get to do anything to myself. And I go to work, I go home, I eat dinner, I sleep, and I do that shit again. And then on my day off, I'm so goddamn exhausted that I just want to lay in bed all day, right? That's what the experience of Pilot gave me, and had me realize that I never, ever, 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 ever want to be working at a job that makes me feel the way that job did. Now, that's not to knock against any of the coworkers I met there. I met a lot of very interesting and very cool people that did have an impact on my life. There was this one coworker I had. She was probably around 50 years old or so. Her name was Louise. Total smoker. Total, I smoke cigarettes to get through my day. Puff, puff, right? But biggest thing I learned from working that job is never judge somebody based off of their character. Just because they smoke cigarettes does not make them a terrible person. Just because somebody's an alcoholic doesn't make them a terrible person. Just because somebody's a total pothead does not mean that they are a terrible person. And a lot of people, especially some certain people in my family, tend to judge people based off of those kind of characteristics and be like, oh, they're gonna have bad influence on you and da-da-da-da-da-da and whatever. If you're true to yourself and you know what you want and you know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, and other people like that aren't going to necessarily take you off of the track that you're on or the trajectory you're on. And a lot of times people like that open your eyes to the certain realities in life, and they've opened my eyes to some people I'm just really sorry for, right? And I wish that everyone could have a chance at redoing their life and to kind of find their passion, so that way they don't get stuck in a 9-to-5 job that is excruciatingly painful, that you're only working minimum wage for and you're barely making a living for. And it really opened my eyes to say that, not to say that these people don't work hard, right? Because Louise worked very hard at her job. She really did. She worked very, very hard, and she did enjoy her job. With that said, education and educating yourself on things to better yourself and to better your life and making smart decisions, that's what differentiates a person working a 9 to 5 and somebody that's making $100,000 a year. Is knowledge, is understanding why somebody makes $100,000 a year versus why somebody only makes $25,000 a year, right? So with that said, I worked that job, went back to school. I took all $2,000 I made at Pilot and I bought camera equipment for the shoot, for the movie that I was and am going to work on, and I will fucking finish that thing if I die. Like, I will finish this movie. It's called Cryo 1. You can follow it on Instagram. A Cryo, that's Kryo 1, number 1, so just a 1, film on Instagram. So you can go check that out. We haven't posted on it in like 2 years? 2 years? I don't know. It's been a long time. But I bought $2,000 worth of equipment for this shoot and for this film, and it was like, that's the biggest purchase I think I've ever just bit the bullet on. And if you are kind of like, you know, and know anything about, like, I don't really believe in astrological science or astrology, but I was reading some shit about a Leo, which I am, about how we tend to just jump into things without thinking about it. I could tell you that I jump into a lot of shit and don't think about it. So, you know, just saying, you know, some things have certain truths to them, you know. All fantasy or all fantasy and fiction all have certain truths within them, and that's mine. So anyways, I'm gonna speed this up because my camera's about to die and I don't have to charge this bitch. So bought $2,000 of camera equipment. Now it's summer, and then I'm working my job at the pool with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend Ryan. I want her to be more involved in my shit, so I'm gonna say her name. Her name's Ryan. She's lovely. She's great. And working with her and stuff, I made a bunch more money while I was working on this film, but we had a bunch of COVID setbacks and stuff, which were really hard. And we had people test positive all willy-nilly, and that was really hard. But despite that, I made a bunch more money, and I invested a shit ton of my money in cryptocurrency. If you must know, I have $4,000 in cryptocurrency at this time. It's cool. If you want me to make an in-depth video on what I'm invested in and kind of my strategy for that, that's cool. So summer, I didn't just work. I spent a lot of time with friends. I spent a lot of time hanging out, doing dumb shit like getting home at 3 a.m. in the morning, going and just doing sporadic things because I'm like, I have my license now. I can do these things, and I did, and I'm very happy for it. And I would say my biggest advice to anyone in high school: don't be a dumb shit and get caught underage drinking or smoking or anything like that. Don't do that. Like, I'm not saying do that, but what I will say is that find moments to let go and connect with people that you like connecting with, and people that you don't like connecting with, cut them out. Really cut them out, right? Obviously, if it's a relationship that you really want to be in your life, work at it. But there will come a point where you're like, I can't keep working at this anymore. I'm gonna have to cut this out. And it's okay to do that. It's 100% okay to do that. So that was my summer. And then boom, senior year. I was still dealing with my concussion stuff. My soccer season just didn't even really happen. I played like 2 games, got really sick, had a whole COVID thing happen. Couldn't play in playoffs because of all that shit. You know, I wasn't even probably supposed to play soccer in the first place because of my head, even though I did anyways. I did 3 sports at a time, cross country, swim, soccer. Don't do that. And this is where I was kind of really starting to fall apart at the end of my year. I was like, I want to do everything. I feel so motivated. I want to make all these videos. I want to shoot all this shit. I want to write this. I felt so good after my summer, and I felt so good coming off of that spring. And we didn't finish the shoot of Cry 1, but I still felt so good. Felt good. I felt really good, right? And I was running a bunch, and I was going to the gym, and I had a great summer at the gym. I was just going to the gym, and I was going to do this, and I was going to do that. And I was going to senior year. I'm like, this shit's going to rock. And I just was like, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and all of these things. And what I came to find out is I can't do all of those damn things. I can't do it all. I can't do it all, you know? Despite what I'd like to say that I can do, I can't do all of it. And me trying to do everything had a really damaging effect on my relationship for the past 3 months. And I don't want to talk about my personal life too much because I really want to separate my personal life with my film and my media creation. And I've also walked that line too close way too many times. And I even walked it very closely just a month ago with some content I posted of my basketball team. And it was way too not okay, and it put our basketball team in a diminishing light. And I haven't made a public apology for it. I have to coaches and people that stuff matters to, but overall I haven't said sorry, and I want to say sorry for that on my platforms and stuff. And I tried to do too much, and it had a very damaging effect on my relationship. So my girlfriend and I took a break. It wasn't really a mutual break. She was like, you need to figure your shit out, we're done. And I was like, cool, got it. Not really cool. I was devastated. So I took a lot of reflection time. Not a lot, just some reflection time I seriously needed. But we got back together about 2-3 weeks later, and it wasn't fully repaired. And it hasn't been until very recently. There was just a lot of baggage and a lot of there was a huge chasm, a huge cliff, not a cliff. Chasm is the word, in between us. And as of late, we really sat down and have debunked what's been wrong and what we're gonna do about it moving forward. And moving into 2022, no matter where we go, no matter where she goes to college, no matter where I go to college, we want to make this work. And that was a huge lesson that I had to learn. And it was a lesson of, I've always preached that I don't care who the person is. If they're not benefiting you, then cut that bitch out of your life. That's true 99% of the time. But there will be that 1% of people, or one person, maybe 2 or 3. But 1% of the people you meet, you won't have the heart or the want to cut them out. You want to work at that relationship. You want to nurture that relationship, and you want to make it better. And if I could give any advice to anyone going into 2022, it's chase your dreams, number one. I mean, I forgot to talk about Victorium 5. I launched a clothing brand and a media company, and we're going to file with the state when I turn 18. So, yeah, that's awesome, right? That's super fucking cool.